Please welcome to Moment and Story. Here you'll find story that inspire, touch the heart, and reflect the beauty of everyday life. Love that cannot be bought. At dawn in a small village in northeastern Thailand, the sky was still pale. The roosters crowed against the sound of cicadas. A warm breeze passed over the harvested rice fields. The scent of new rice lingered in the air, and a 27-year-old woman rose from a thin mat on the wooden floor. She folded her blanket neatly. Barefoot, she walked into the kitchen corner. She lit the charcoal stove, washed the pot, rinsed the rice. Steam slowly rose above the lid. Her mother coughed softly, sat down on a rattan chair. Her hands were rough from years in the fields, but her eyes still gentle. "Tired, my child?" her mother asked, and smiled. "No, Mom. Later I'll go help Aunt Lek at her salon." Their old stilted wooden house creaked when stepped on, but it was clean. Sarongs hung on the line. Beyond the yard, children chased chickens, laughing loudly. Their laughter was like the morning sun, bright and innocent, and had only finished high school. She once worked at a small beauty shop in town, cutting hair, styling, doing nails. The pay was little, but enough to help her mother pay old debts after bad harvests. Every evening, she walked home along the dirt path, her shadow stretched long by the sugar palm trees. The sky turned red-orange, and deep in her heart, a quiet dream whispered. A small house, 2 windows to welcome the breeze, a stable job, and someone who would choose her completely. One evening, her childhood friend, Bua, returned from Pattaya. Bua was tanned, confident, wearing high-waist jeans, smiling like someone who had seen the world. She told and about working in a bar. "The tips are good, and 1 month there is like 3 or 4 months here." Bua placed a hand on her shoulder. "Why not try? Just for a while. You can save money for your mom." That night, and spoke with her mother on the wooden porch. The lamp oil flickered, casting a warm glow. Her mother stared quietly for a long time. "If you go with good intentions, then go. Take care of yourself. I'll be fine." Her mother's hand was warm on Anne's hand. It felt like both a push and a blessing. A few weeks later, and boarded a bus to Pattaya with Bua. Only one bag, a few clothes, little money, but hope filled her face. Pattaya's night had its own music. The sound of waves, the buzz of motorbikes, songs from bars blending together, laughter in many languages. The bar was small, lit with warm orange lights. The owner, a kind middle-aged woman, explained the rules. "Smile, be polite. Respect the customers. You don't have to do anything you don't want. We're like sisters here." And nodded, inhaled deeply, and told herself she would endure. That first night, she wore a simple dress, tied her hair in a ponytail. She served drinks, said, "Hello," and "Thank you," with a shy smile. Her English was not strong, but her sincerity spoke louder. Men came and went, some drunk and loud, some quiet and polite. Old songs played from the speakers, the guitar soft, time moving slowly. And while she was cleaning a table in the corner, he walked in. A tall foreign man, early 40s, light shirt, sleeves rolled, golden hair with threads of white, eyes the color of gray sky before rain. He sat at the corner table, raised his hands in a clumsy Thai Y, and smiled. "Sawasti ka." He smiled back. "Sawasti krub. 1 beer, please." His accent was strange, but gentle. His name was Markus, from Germany. He spoke a few Thai words, but he listened intently whenever and spoke, as if every word mattered. He returned the next night, and the next, same table. same drink, but never the same conversation. He asked about Anne's village, what food Isan people loved, if she liked the sea, what her dreams were, and told him about her rice fields, about her mother, the village temple fair. She confessed her dream of opening a beauty salon. Her eyes sparkled as she spoke, and Markus listened with true interest. Sometimes, he brought food from nearby stalls for all the staff. "Let's share," he said, "no rush, no pressure. Just someone content to sit and listen until the bar closed." One morning, he invited her for a walk by the beach. The sky pale gray, waves gentle, seabirds circled above, and took off her shoes, let the cool sand touch her feet. She laughed when the waves splashed stronger than she expected. Markus laughed too, clumsily wiping her toes with a small towel, for the first time in her life, and felt cared for, not because she asked, but because someone wanted to. Later that day, he took her to a quiet seafood restaurant. They ordered grilled prawns, squid, spicy dipping sauce. Tears welled in his eyes from the chili, and laughed until she had to hand him water. He smiled through the tears. Delicious. Very delicious. 3 simple words in Thai, and both burst into laughter. Night after night, Markus became part of Anne's days. When he didn't show, she found herself staring at his usual table. When he returned, her heart beat faster. Careful, and Bua teased, and smiled faintly. "I know." But late at night, staring into the mirror, she whispered to herself, "What is this feeling?" After visiting Anne's hometown, their relationship grew stronger. Markus was no longer just a bar customer. He became a presence in her real life. Whenever he was in Thailand, and never had to spend her own money, Markus handled everything. Hotels, meals, clothes, shoes. He bought her a new phone, saying, "So we can talk more easily." He took her to luxury malls she had never dared to enter, picked out dresses for her to try, told her, "You look like a princess," and blushed and laughed, but inside her heart glowed. She had never received so much, and when she looked into his eyes, she felt he was sincere. They traveled to islands together, Koh Larn, Koh Samet. He loved speedboats, laughing as the waves splashed hard, and clung to his arm, feeling safe in his strength. At night, he treated her to fine dining, steak, red wine, French bread, and was clumsy with the fork and knife, but tried her best to follow his lead. He smiled warmly. "It doesn't matter. You are always beautiful." Simple words, yet they made her heart flutter like a girl in love for the first time. But each time happiness overflowed, a whisper echoed inside her, "And tomorrow? What will we be?" At night, back in her rented room, and stared at the bag filled with gifts from Markus. She felt surrounded by luxury, yet her heart remained empty. She longed for a home. A shared life, not just trips and dinners. One evening, at a seaside restaurant, the wind blew so strong the candlelight nearly went out. The sound of waves was heavy, and gathered courage. Her voice was soft, almost lost in the wind. "Markus, do you ever think about having a family?" He froze. The glass of wine in his hand stopped midair. His gaze drifted to the sea before he answered, "Not yet. Right now I just want to enjoy life." The words were simple, but they dropped like a heavy stone into Anne's heart. She forced a smile, but her lips trembled. The food tasted bitter. The waves, once comforting, now sounded harsh. That night, Anne lay beside him, facing the wall. Silent tears ran down her cheeks. Markus slept peacefully, never knowing the woman next to him was breaking inside. Days went on as before. Markus still bought her gifts, still took her out to fine places, still whispered, you're the best woman I've ever met." But not once did the word future cross his lips, and felt like a gift wrapped in shiny ribbons, beautiful on the outside, but empty inside. One evening, Bua saw and sitting silently on the balcony. She put down her drink and asked bluntly, "Are you sure this is love, not just money?" And flinched, silent for a long moment. "I don't know. But every time I'm with him, I feel valued." Bua sighed. Real love doesn't make you feel valuable only because he spends money. It makes you feel chosen for the future. Her friend's words clung to Anne's mind like a shadow. No matter where she went, she could not escape them. Months later, Markus had to return to Germany. He hugged her tightly at the airport. "I'll be back soon," he promised, and waved until he disappeared from sight. It felt like half her heart had been taken away. In the following weeks, his messages still came, but grew shorter. From long paragraphs about his work, the weather, his days, they turned into just "good morning" or "miss you," and sat staring at her phone, waiting for the words, "We have a future together." But that day never came. Nearly 2 months had passed since Markus returned to Germany, and still worked every night at the bar, but her heart felt emptier than before. Each time her phone buzzed, she grabbed it with hope. Sometimes it was him, but his words grew shorter. "Miss you. Busy with work. Going to bed late." Simple words, but never about the future, and told herself he was tired. He was busy, but deep inside, she knew, the fire between them was fading. Even so, and stayed faithful. She never entertained other customers more than necessary, never opened her heart to anyone else. Her love remained for Markus alone. She began saving money, cutting expenses. She bought a small notebook, and on the first page she wrote, "My beauty salon." She sketched a picture, a tiny shop beside the market, 2 salon chairs, 1 big mirror, a simple sign above the door. She dreamed of showing it to Markus, of building it together. One night, she sent him a photo of her sketch. His reply was only, "Nice dream." And nothing more that day. Her heart ached, because for her, it wasn't just a dream. It was the life she longed to live. 6 months later, Markus returned to Pattaya, and rushed to meet him at the airport. She hugged him tightly. His cologne was familiar. His arms were warm, but his eyes were not the same. There was a wall between them now. He still took her to nice restaurants, still bought her things, still smiled when she blushed. But everything felt like routine, like a duty, not like love burning bright, and could hear the crack in the walls of her heart. The house of love was still standing, but the wood was breaking. One night, after a quiet walk on the beach, she stopped and looked at him. The sound of waves was heavy, but her voice was steady. "Markus, if we are serious, we should think about the future. Can we try for a visa? I want to live together, work together, share life with you." He froze, the smile faded, his gaze drifted out to the sea. "Anne, I'm not ready. The paperwork is complicated, work is stressful. Let's just enjoy what we have now." Enjoy what we have now. The words were chains, tying her to the same place, with no way forward, and forced herself to stay silent. But inside, her heart screamed louder than the waves. "How long must I wait?" After that night, every time Anne asked about the future, Markus avoided the question, or smiled and said, "We'll talk later." But weeks turned into months, and later never arrived, and still devoted herself. She planned trips for them, Chiang Mai, Chiang Rai, Koh Samui. She wanted him to feel happiness. She gave her all, but at night, when he fell asleep, she lay awake, staring at the ceiling, and whispered to herself, "What about my happiness?" One day, and sent him a long message. She included a list of documents needed for a visa. She had researched everything. She hoped he would see her effort. Hours passed. No reply. Days passed. Finally, he wrote back. "Anne, I don't want to think about that now. Let's just keep things the way they are." The same words, again and again, that night, and sat on her bed. Her phone lay silent on the table. Tears slid slowly down her cheeks. Not because she didn't love him, but because she finally knew he never truly chose her. Night after night, and cried herself to sleep. Finally, she asked the question inside her heart, "Do I love him enough to keep hurting like this forever?" She did love him, but love that never moves forward is like a boat adrift in the sea, no direction, no shore to reach, and opened her old notebook again. On the page titled "My Beauty Salon," she added a new line, "My new life." One evening, in a luxury hotel room in Pattaya, they sat together on the sofa. The television was on, but no one paid attention, and gathered her courage. Her voice trembled, but her eyes held steady. "Markus, if you truly love me, please tell me, do we have a future together? I can't live like this anymore." He sighed deeply, his eyes drifted away. "Anne, I love you, but I don't want marriage. I don't want to tie myself down. I like my freedom." The word, love, the word she had longed to hear, arrived only to crush her dreams. Tears streamed down her face, her lips quivered, her hands clenched tightly in her lap. Inside, it felt like her heart had been cut open. Slowly, and stood, she picked up her small bag, packed only a few clothes, and slipped her notebook inside. Markus turned, startled. "Anne, where are you going?" Her voice was shaky, but firmer than ever before. "I'm leaving your life. Even though I love you deeply, I must also love myself." She walked out, never looking back. His voice called her name behind her, but she left the dream that never came true. Weeks later, and returned to her mother in Isan. She used her small savings to rent a tiny room near the market. She bought one salon chair, a large mirror, and opened a small beauty shop. On the first day, a little schoolgirl came in for a haircut. Her mother sat nearby, smiling with pride. "You're talented, my daughter," her mother said, and laughed through tears. For the first time, her tears were not from pain, but from pride. Years later, and still remembered Markus. Sometimes when she heard an old Western song, or smelled a familiar cologne, the memories returned, but they no longer hurt. She had learned something powerful. Love bought with money, gifts, and fancy trips is not true love. True love is built by choosing each other, by creating a shared future together. And closed her notebook. On the last page, she wrote, "Love that cannot be bought is the love I found in myself."